Well, it's Groundhog Day. Again. And that must mean that I am Professor Robert E.G. Black, and this is the Groundhog Day Project.
It's one of those infinite time loop situations you might have heard about.
It's a thing where the same day keeps happening.
Time.
I wake up every day right here, right in Punxsutawney, and it's always February 2nd.
The last revision is what counts, apparently.
Minute 11 begins with Phil leaving the Cherry Street Inn, and by the end we have met Ned Ryerson. At the end of last minute, Mrs. Lancaster asks, "Will you be checking out today, Mr. Connors?" He answers her now and says, "Chance of departure today, 100%. He's being cute. She likes it. And she smiles sweetly before he leaves. Things to note. Visuals. A. On the wall by the door, there is a drawing of the Cherry Street Inn. It's nice. Nice set decoration. Also, to the right, there's a doorway across the hall. That is the room where they watch Jeopardy later in the film. Additionally, no, it is not a goof that he doesn't have his gloves on and then has his gloves on next time we see him. This minute we don't have that problem because we don't see him outside the door, but next minute it becomes a problem because we do see him outside the door. He puts his gloves on in the, what would you call it? Atrium, I guess? It's not a foyer. There's a space. The door we see inside and the door we see outside are not the same door. There are two sets of doors because this is a place that gets a lot of bad weather. This is rural Pennsylvania in a mountainous area. Punxsutawney gets snow and Woodstock gets snow. Woodstock, Illinois, where they filmed this. Well, where they filmed the exteriors. Then we go to the street. We are in the town square of Woodstock, Illinois, posing as the town square of Punxsutawney, Pennsylvania. We won't get into the cars and the extras behind yet, because we'll focus on them another minute. But we do get Les Podwell leaning against the wall as, I think in the shooting script, he's just called the old man, but there's a line of dialogue and a deleted scene where they referred to him as Old Jensen. And in one of the scripts, a weird typo makes it look like his name is O'Reilly. I generally refer to him as O'Reilly in my blog. Now I usually refer to him as Old Man Jensen O'Reilly, or just the old man. You'll know what I'm talking about in context of the film, of course. But he does have a name. And a lot of the characters in the film do. So we'll get into that when we get to them. When I know them. I don't always remember every name. Like offhand, I can't remember the names of the three kids, but we never see all three kids in the same place in the finished film. We'll talk about them later. On the street, Phil turns the corner. There are cars arriving, probably looking for parking, but they're not going to find it, trust me. Well, they might if they get there early enough. When I went to Woodstock for Groundhog Day 2014, I did park on the square that day, I think. Right? Yeah, I parked on the square that day. The first day I was there, I parked outside of the town square, I think. No, the first night I parked outside the town square because I got into town just in time for the tail end of the dance they have, which was on a Friday night, Groundhog Day that weekend. I believe it was on Sunday morning. And I was there till Monday. Enough about the geography, though. As Phil turns the corner, we cut to a man, well, an insurance salesman. That's just how you can describe him. Long coat, briefcase, hat. He's tall, he's thin. He is Stephen Tobolowsky as Ned Ryerson, who is a very over-the-top, overt, in-your-face kind of character. And he sees Phil and he stops in the middle of the intersection to say, "Phil? Hey, Phil! Phil Connors? Phil Connors, I thought that was you." He comes right over to him. He touches him repeatedly during the scene, which is hilarious. That is the choice he's making, is to touch him. And I forget when it is, is it in this minute? No, it must be next minute when he pulls out the business card. Because the great thing with his business card, he keeps it in his glove. So the business card is not in good condition, and that's funny to me. Phil, of course, reacts like a good celebrity news person should. "Hi, how you doing? Thanks for watching." He's being personable, he's being nice. He doesn't just insult people for random reasons most of the time. I mean, I guess he does No, he didn't call Man in Hallway pork chop the first time. He does call him that later. He doesn't insult people for no reason. He insults people that he knows because he's smart enough to know that insulting someone can go badly. And then you get Ned's response, because they knew each other and he knows that. And so he's like, hey, now don't tell me you don't remember me because I sure as heck if I remember you. And Phil says, not a chance, which is such a wonderful response. Not like, no, I don't remember you. Like, not a chance. He's just, he's, I was going to say operationalizing, but I don't think that's the word I mean. He's basically making it a statement. It's like, I will not remember you. Please stop talking. Go away. He's starting to get annoyed, and he's getting to the point where he probably would insult him. But Ned is talking more than Phil does, which is also a good thing about Ned, is that so far we've seen Phil be a jerk, and now he's being kind of put in his place a little by someone else controlling the conversation, controlling the interaction. And Ned says, Ned, Ryerson. I believe that's when he lifts up his hat, as if that's going to make him more recognizable. Like, was he bald in high school at Case Western High? I don't think so, but maybe he was. Actually, no, Stephen Tobolowsky in high school, I think, had a good head of hair, if I remember right. I've seen pictures of him when he was younger. He did start to lose his hair pretty young, but I think in high school he still had it. But Phil looks up at his head like he is expecting there to be an answer there. Like, why did you raise the hat? Am I supposed to recognize your bald pate? And so Ned continues, Ned the head. Come on, buddy. Case Western High. And I love that he goes high on the word high. And I just get the feeling he might have been a cheerleader, if they had cheerleaders. I don't think they had cheerleaders because they were a program at a college. I mean, in the real world, the equivalent of Case Western High would have been Case Western University, what's the full name? Case Western Reserve University had a high school program, briefly. I don't know the years of it. I've looked it up before and haven't found the specific years, just that it existed. So I take this as being they went to that school, so that means they are from Cleveland. In case you haven't been listening along before when I've said that, Phil and Ned are from Cleveland. In the original script, Phil says that at some point about being from Cleveland, and he does go visit his mother, which I don't know if that scene establishes that it's Cleveland, but that means he made it to Cleveland during the time loop one night. In the film version, of course, he doesn't get out of town because he can't. Even though arguably he should, but we'll talk more about that when we get to the train. Because if there's a train that comes through town, Phil's got to be hopping on that train and getting out of town at least one night. The good thing is this movie knows nothing's going to happen if he does. And so you leave that stuff out. Even when he goes to visit his mother, all it is a time where you find out, yeah, his mother doesn't put up with this shit either. And his mother tells him off, like, you only come see me when you need something. Because at that point he's looking for, like, reassurance and help. And she can't help him. She can't reassure him. Ned continues. Ned Ryerson. I did the whistling belly button trick at the high school talent show. Bing! Phil didn't understand that. Why is he saying bing? Ned Ryerson got the shingles real bad senior year. And I love the enunciation on this line. You can understand how this is a guy who makes a living talking to people. Because he says, got the shingles real bad senior year. Almost didn't graduate. And it's very distinct sounds on everything in that phrase. And then he's like, bing again, as if he sees Phil remembering him. And Phil still doesn't remember him. He doesn't even remember him later, except he remembers him from today. Ned Ryerson, I dated your sis. And he's going to talk about Phil's sister, but we're going to have to wait for that for minute 12 because the minute cuts off mid-sentence. But we will know then that Phil has a sister, close in age. I'm guessing younger. But definitely close in age to them, so she was probably at the same high school, which is how they would have met. And we don't know anything else about this. What does Phil think about his sister? I don't know. Does it matter that he has a sister? It would be interesting to know. It would be interesting to know what Phil's relationship was like with his sister. I don't think I ever wrote about that in the blog. I did write a blog entry where I theorized what high school was like for Phil, for Ned, for Rita. I think I even did Larry, although I don't have much information on that. I think on stuff that isn't in the movie, I did decide that Larry does indeed have kids. Phil asked him later, do you have kids? Rita, I think I said, was a kind of person who would be on like the debate team and do, Model UN, parliamentary debate. Probably competed in speech things as well if she could. Phil may also have done that. You become a weatherman, you're trying to be famous, but also you have to have an interest in talking in front of people, and you have to have an interest in the weather. even though a lot of the information is just coming from computers and other meteorologist information. You still have to be able to explain what it is. You have to know what it is so you sound convincing. That's why I said back in minute 2, that Phil is good at his job. He's not the best at dealing with people, as we see here. He's seeing a guy who said we went to high school together, and rather than say, he doesn't say outright, I'm not placing it, I don't remember you. And also, maybe it's rude to say I don't remember you, but you don't say not a chance. That's worse. Not only do I not remember you, but I will never remember you. That's not good. Does Phil ever remember Ned from high school? I don't think so. I think he only remembers him tomorrow from today, and he only remembers him the next day from these 2 days, and he only remembers him at the end of the film from this long loop he's been in. That's all I got from minute 11. Till next time, watch more movies.
Knew you were gonna say that.
This has been a production of Lemming Drops Studio. You can find links to more at lemmingdrops.com or join the Facebook group Lemming Drops Studio Tour. Also, you can support all my shows at patreon.com/lemmingdrops.
What is wrong in the end which never comes? Or which comes again and again, lapping, like waves.
Since the Big Bang set everything in motion, everything that happens in this universe has to be the way it is. Particles unfolding the way they're destined to.
How do you sleep at night? You've never seen Groundhog Day?
Yeah, you know Groundhog Day is not a documentary.
Remember when Groundhog Day was just a movie?